Now, this is an interesting quote. It says, "It is so much simpler to bury reality than it is to dispose of dreams." Let's read that again. It is so much simpler to bury reality than it is to dispose of dreams. You might be wondering, JLB, whoever said this, or why does it matter? Very good questions. That's exactly what we're going to take a look at in this here video today. By the end of this, you will be convinced either that I have lost my mind, or you have lost your mind, or all the people around you have lost their minds, or maybe some combination. So let's get into the fun of it, shall we? That quote is from The Matrix Resurrections, but it wasn't the people who made that film who came up with that quote. It's actually from a guy called Don, an author named Donnie, as he likes to be called. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at this. A book that he wrote called Underworld, a national bestseller. Now, this came out from the author Donnie back in 1997. And what do we see here on the front cover? Why, we see the Twin Towers behind what looks like a church with a cross. And is that a plane or is that a bird? Well, it's hard to tell, isn't it? But in any event, Donnie DeLillo, he also wrote White Noise, Falling Man, and Point Omega. Now, the official story here, folks, is that this came out in 1997, this book. This peculiar-looking book called Underworld. Underworld. 1997, Twin Towers. And is that a bird or a plane? We don't know. But it's right next to the Twin Towers, and they're, well, it's a little bit foggy, almost a little bit smoky. Almost like, well, that day that we best not speak about too much, where 3,000 people tragically went to the underworld, and my heart goes out to the families. Allegedly, don't know if it's true. Some people say that the stories we've been told about that day are not true. But old Donnie Boy wrote this book. He also wrote White Noise. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But he was one who wrote a book called Americana, and this quote, that it is so much simpler to bury reality than it is to dispose of dreams, this comes from his novel Americana, you see. Now, at this point, I know a lot of you are already like, JLB, I don't get it. You've said like 5 or 6 different things, and I can't connect the dots, and that's it, I'm clicking off this video. And I understand it. I don't take it personally. So maybe I'll see you for the next video. But for those of you who can stick around, who are willing to take this information as it comes and then make up your own minds at the end of it, well, you've made a good decision, because just wait till you see when we connect these dots. So you've got The Matrix Resurrections. Comes out about a year or so ago. Yeah, the 4th installment of this Matrix franchise. And at a certain point in the film, one of the scenes from the toilet, actually, can you believe, the bathroom of the office where Neo works, the game designer, from a game design standpoint, this is written, and it's only a brief little thing that you see about 25 minutes into the film. It is so much simpler to bury reality than to dispose of dreams. Because we all, well, not all of us, but many of us, we like to have dreams. We like to dream that one day, I'm going to insert X, Y, or Z. Or one day, the world is going to insert ABC. You know what I'm trying to say? At some point in the future, things will be different. These dreams that we have now, some people pursue their dreams, they achieve their dreams. Some people do not. But in either case, dreams are very important to people, aren't they? So, when reality doesn't accord with the dreams, much easier to dispose of the reality, to bury it, pretend it doesn't exist, put our heads in the sand, as it were, than to dispose of the dreams. That is one interpretation of this quote, which just happens to appear in Matrix Resurrections. Just happens to appear there from our boy Donnie. Donnie, who also wrote Underworld, came out in 1997, 4 years before the event, with the Twin Towers, front and center, is a church, and he's at a plane in the background. Nobody knows. All right. Now, he wrote this book called White Noise back in the 80s, I think, 85. Yeah, something like that. There it is, 85, and it was turned into a film called White Noise last year. Late last year, this was released. This film. And what is this film about? Well, believe it or not, the people in the story, their lives are disrupted when a cataclysmic train accident casts a cloud of chemical waste over the town, and this airborne toxic event forces a massive evacuation, which leads to major traffic on the highway. And blah blah blah. Now this came out in August of 2022 at a film festival, and then in November of 2022, just 3 months ago, thereabouts. Oh, we're February now, aren't we? Let's say 4 months ago. Yes, this film called White Noise, written by our boy Donnie. The same Donnie, yes, and the same Donnie, yes. Okay, you with me? Now let's go and take a look at CNN. CNN.com, they say, after a train derailment, Ohio residents are living the plot of a movie that they helped make. What are you talking about? This is from February 13, folks. This is from just a matter of hours ago. It says this. When Ben Ratner's family signed up in 2021 to be the extras in the movie White Noise, they thought it would be fun. Distraction from their day-to-day life in blue-collar East Palestine, Ohio. This is a CNN story, folks. This is meant to be real life. Can you believe that? Ratner, 37. Really, 37. Interesting. Some of you are like, Shelby, how's that interesting? What are you talking about? Well, that means you didn't watch the most recent video, but don't you worry. Shelby's got you covered. We'll talk about that later. Let's put that aside for now. So Ratner, a real-life man living in East Palestine, Ohio. He's in a traffic jam, sitting in a line of cars trying to evacuate after a freight train collided with a tanker truck, triggering an explosion that fills the air with dangerous toxins. Oh, this is from the film. This isn't real life. This is from the film. In another scene, his father wears a trench coat and hat while people walk across an overpass to get out of town. Directors told the group they wanted them to look forlorn and downtrodden as they escape the environmental disaster. The 2022 movie was shot around Ohio and is based on a novel by Don DeLillo, Donny Boy. The book was published in 1985, shortly after a chemical disaster in Bhopal, India that killed nearly 4,000 people, allegedly. My heart goes out to the families. The book and film follow the fictional Gladney family, a couple and their 4 kids, as they flee an airborne toxic event. Okay, well, what's the point of all of this? Why is this interesting? Well, when this guy tried to re-watch the movie a few days ago, he couldn't finish it. All of a sudden, it hit too close to home, he said. Ratner and his family, his wife, their kids, are living the fiction they helped bring to the screen. The Ratner family celebrates Halloween in their home in East Palestine, Ohio. So this is a real family, we're led to believe. And this dude acted in a film last year called, let's scroll back to it, White Noise. Okay, real family. Where are we? Real family. Real dude. He's in a film called White Noise. Okay. And this film is about a cataclysmic train accident that cast a cloud of chemical waste over the town. There's a tongue twister for you. A cataclysmic train accident that casts a cloud of chemical waste over the town. Well, it would seem that this is actually happening in real life. Officials ordered them to evacuate. This is the real life part of the story, folks, not the film. Officials ordered them to evacuate their home last week, a day after a Norfolk Southern train carrying 20 cars of hazardous material slid off the rails and caught fire, threatening to explode. Still being investigated. So the first half of the movie is all about exactly what's going on here, Ratner said Wednesday, 4 days into their evacuation. In a way, the movie has provided a point of grim humour about the situation, facing the residents of East Palestine, the joke no one wanted to make. Everyone's been talking about that, Ratner said of his friends and neighbours who are keeping in close touch through the crisis. I actually made a meme where I superimposed my face on a poster and sent it to my friends. So this is a film about a cataclysmic train accident that sends a chemical cloud, a toxic chemical cloud into the sky. This is a real family, and he acted in the film about events that would actually happen in real life just a few months later. And he was in a film by a guy called Donnie, who also wrote Underworld, a novel with the Twin Towers in there, and it's got is that a bird or a plane? So that bird has very straight wings if it's a bird. Almost looks like a plane. Underworld, right near a church. Interesting. And this same guy, this same author who wrote the book that became the film that became real life a few months later, he wrote, and this was quoted in Matrix Resurrections, "It's so much simpler to bury reality than it is to dispose of dreams." What kind of dreams do people have? Do they have dreams or nightmares? Visions of world wars, millions of people dying due to nuclear bombs, viruses, plagues, epidemics, people dropping dead from an invisible body-possessing demon. Have they got these ideas in their head? Do they dream of world peace? Do they not realize that the world is already at peace and war is in fact an HOAX? These are questions for me to ask and for you to decide the answers. Let's move on with this little presentation, shall we? We've got this train accident scene. This comes to us from White Noise. Now, this is from folks, just a few months ago. And the clip is from Film Trim. They have 31.1k subscribers, 311. Means nothing to most of you, I'm sure. That's okay. Let's just take a quick look at this little film scene. This is from the film. Not to be confused with real life, even though apparently they're the same thing out there in Ohio with this train issue. But let's just look at this as a film, not as real life. That's how it's presented originally. This is what happens. Let's hope this doesn't get me copyright stricken. I don't think it should. You can use this stuff for, what's it called? Analysis, education, blah, blah, blah. I think I should be okay. Let's take a look at this.
To face dying alone!
Well, now, hold on a second. We've got a preacher man. We've got a preacher man giving some people some kind of lecture about life and death. Maybe he's talking a little bit about the underworld, perhaps. He's got the preacher thing going on. Hold on a second, let's go back to this. Goodness gracious me.
To form a shield against their own dying. To become a crowd is to keep out death. To break off from the crowd is to risk death as an individual. To face dying alone!
Yikes. So in the film from a few months ago, with the cataclysmic train crash creating a toxic chemical cloud. I'm doing this in one take, by the way, folks. Thanks for bearing with me. So we've got this going on. This is a film from a few months ago. But now we have a real-life train disaster on our hands, don't we? Apparently, we've got a real-life train disaster going on in Ohio. Right? Ooh, the people with hazmat suits and stuff. So in this film, just before the cataclysmic train accident, causing the chemical toxic problems, we've got some guy crapping on about life and death and dying alone. Without getting too existential here, folks, I can't help but think about this book, Underworld. This church front and centre, and right behind it the Twin Towers with the plane. Is it a bird or a plane? I'm not sure. 4 years before 2001. And all of this from an author named Donnie, whose quote made its way into the Matrix Resurrections. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section below, folks. You know I love to get your thoughts, yes indeed. I want to share with you some more of this esoteric stuff. Before I do, let me remind you, there is a free JLB mailing list. It takes 10 seconds to join. If you find any of this interesting, you might want to join that free JLB mailing list. It takes 10 seconds to join. Costs you nothing. I haven't sent anything out for some months, but I do plan to send something out very shortly. This is really the only way to make sure that I can stay in touch with you, because YouTube and Twitter and other social media, they can kibosh us at any time. I don't think I'm going to be kiboshed anytime soon, but it's possible. And the mailing list is a way for me to stay in touch with people, even if I do get kiboshed from the so-called social media. Also, make sure you check out in the info box below a link to yesterday's video, where we talk about this number 37. Yes, indeed, 37. Why is 37 important? Well, you'll find out if you go and check out this video, available right now here on YouTube. Link in the info box below. So next thing we're going to do, my friends, is we're going to take a look at this collage I put together some time ago. I want to see if you recognize some patterns here. Now, the background music, if you want to find out more, link in the info box below, is by Chief Crow and the Flat Earth Worms. So here we've got a black monolith, and a bunch of monkey-looking things. Another black monolith. Another black monolith. This is Ground Zero. Another black monolith-looking thing. The Millennium Hilton. Would you believe it? A Hilton like in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Which is what this is from. This is a collage I put together some time ago. There it is, the black monolith. Right there. Before the towers came down, when they got hit. There's a Hilton space station in 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's a Millennium Hilton right there across from where the World Trade Center used to exist. And then when they started doing the recovery and the excavations or whatever they call it to fix up the spot, to now build now they've got a new building there, the One World Trade Center building. Looks very similar to a scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, why am I playing Auto Hoaxer right now? Well, I'm not auto hoaxing this train story. I don't know what to make about it. I want your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you bury reality? Or do you dispose of dreams? What kind of dreams? Do androids dream of electric sheep? Yeah, boy. Same author, folks. Goodness gracious me. A dazzling phosphorescent work of art. Donny Boy. Came out just a few months ago, the film. Life imitating art. Strange stuff if you ask me. Old mate the truck driver is about to go into a place he doesn't want to be, isn't he? Let's take a look at this again. Goodness gracious me. This is avant-garde art, my friends. You don't know what you've got till it's gone, I'll tell you that right now for free, yeah boy. Goodness gracious me. Truck driver makes a mistake. Whoopsie. Apparently we're talking about death here in this film. Oh boy. Bang. Like a tennis ball getting smacked into a lion lady's throat. Down she goes. Goodness gracious me. The 2023 Ohio train derailment, folks. February 3, there's your 2-3 once again. Yeah boy. Hydrogen chloride. Goodness gracious me. What do you make of all of this? February 3, there's your 2-3. Want to make sure you're on that free JLB mailing list. Link in the info box below. Will take you 10 seconds to join. Go and check out Super Roll Scripted. Look at the evidence. I've got the documents, folks. And this collage. If you want more information about this, feel free to message me. JohnLeBond123@gmail.com. Yeah boy. Thank you, Chief Crow and the Flat Earth Worms. Leave your comments in the comment section below and have yourselves a lovely day.
With regard to nobody died, nobody got hurt in these wars.
How dare you!